Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and we are 8 more days, and we're about 8 days away from Christmas. Now it's time for hero number 8 on my list. And this hero is a little different from what I've been choosing because he's not from Marvel or DC. He's actually from Image. And that hero is Invincible. I got the first. I heard a good few things. 2 years ago, I heard about Invincible. I heard some good things about it, so I decided to check it out. And I actually did make a video where I reviewed the first 3 volumes of Invincible. And I thought they were pretty good, so I decided to keep getting the trade paperbacks until I was caught up enough so that I could start collecting the single issues. Basically, Invincible is pretty much the son of a superhero. It takes place in a world where there are superheroes and stuff, and eventually, though, Invincible's dad, who was an alien, he's pretty much like Superman, super strength, flight, was an alien, except this time, he has a kid, and that kid is Mark Grayson, who becomes Invincible, and right, I believe, around the 3rd volume, or 3rd story arc, if you will, Invincible discovered the truth that his dad was actually sent to Earth to invade it, but when his dad couldn't do so, some stuff kept coming along the way, and then eventually a big fight happened between the two where Mark's dad, Omni-Man, left the planet, and then soon Mark pretty much took his job with the government and stuff, and that's pretty much how it was. Invincible would be working with the government, and he'd be getting paid so that he could, have some money to support his mom and go through college. But eventually, though, some stuff keeps happening to Mark. Well, first of all, he does discover that the planet where his dad was on, and he does meet his dad again, but the planet is invaded by their race, the Viltrumites, and eventually leads to Mark's dad getting captured, and apparently he had another son on the planet, so now Mark had a little brother who's half Viltrumite and half other alien. I don't think the race was named or something, but anyways, that little brother was Oliver. Well, Mark took the kid back with him to Earth, where Mark's mom renamed the kid Oliver, and eventually, except though Oliver has this ability to pretty much adapt to whatever he reads and stuff, but he does age at a faster rate. So he was originally a toddler in his first appearance, but now, 4 volumes later, he's practically a preteen. And of course, if you're reading Invincible now, then you'll see that he's definitely a teenager, and by then his aging has somewhat slowed down to a normal rate. Okay, and the book that I chose for this video about Invincible is probably volume 10, Who's the Boss? There's not really any particular story arcs I could really choose for Invincible because, like I said, I've read it from the beginning in trade paperback form, so it's really more chronological to me, but I think this is a really good volume because it's pretty much, at this point, Invincible starts to realize what the guys at the government, Cecil, his main goals are. Apparently, even though Mark brings in some criminals, it turns out Cecil's actually working with some of them and either trying to reform them or try to use their ideas for the greater good, but that really doesn't fly with Mark, and he's just really ticked off that Cecil's been keeping this, and that apparently also when Mark was in there one time after his fight with his dad, they also put something in his head so that they'd be able to control him in case he went rogue like his dad. And eventually, though, Mark did sort of rip it out, and he told all the other Guardians of the Globe about everything. The Guardians of the Globe is like the Justice League of this universe. He pretty much told the Guardians, his friend, and all of his other superhero friends about all this, and they all agree, and they're also shocked by this, and they decide to sort of quit too. And it's just really a big game changer because the guy that Mark trusted since his dad left has somewhat betrayed him, and now he's back. And now Mark pretty much decides to turn his back on this. And things really haven't been going for Mark's civilian life either, because even though he's been saving the day as Invincible, it's also been taking up a lot of and he has been leaving Earth a couple of times. And that's pretty much taken a large chunk of his time in college, and so his grades aren't doing so well, and he starts to wonder maybe he should just be a superhero full time instead of going to school. And yeah, so basically what happens in this book is that Mark quits work for the government, but he does give Cecil a final warning that everything that he's earned so far is his, and that Cecil can't take it back, and also Cecil has to stay away from Mark's little brother. Another thing that happens from a couple of other things that sort of changed the series in this volume is also that I believe Mark and this girl right here, Adam Eve, or Eve as she's known, they officially start dating. I mean, since the beginning there have been hints that they've had a crush on one another, but then but she was seeing someone else at the time, and then Mark had a girlfriend, and the timing wasn't right up until this book, where pretty much I'm pretty sure all the fans of Invincible and Eve has a sigh of relief, and they're just like, finally, they're together. And a couple of other things I want to point out. This is also the book where Mark stops wearing his usual yellow, blue, and black costume. Instead, he switches to that blue and black one that he wore that he wore since this right up until the beginning of the Viltrumite War, which I actually prefer just the red and the black. I mean black and blue costume rather than the yellow one, because it just looked better. And also Oliver's powers are starting to kick in, so he decides to be a superhero too, but Oliver's code name is Young Omni-Man, which first Mark is a little skeptical because he thinks people aren't going to like it, but eventually Oliver says he still wants to stay with it just to kind of remind people that their dad was once a good guy and stuff. I actually do think I can pull up an image of what the black and blue costume looked like. Okay, let me find something. Yeah, here we go. This is what it looked like. The black and blue costume. I actually prefer this costume as opposed to the yellow one, just because I'm not really a fan of yellow. But that's just my opinion. So anyways, Invincible though, I would still recommend that if you want to he's a great hero, very popular, but he's not really well known. So if you want to start picking up Invincible, I would recommend doing what I did and go and find the first volume of the series and just start from there, by collecting the trade paperbacks. That's before you start collecting single issues, because a lot has happened since the beginning and you might be confused. Alright. That's all I have to say. I guess I kind of liked Invincible because, I started reading this right when I was starting college, and I just kind of felt, Mark just seems more down to earth a little than other teen heroes, but it's just, he was a little more relatable to me when I started reading this, and I liked it a lot, because it's interesting because it does remind you of Spider-Man a bit, because Peter Parker had to go to school and also save the day and stuff, and that's kind of the same thing that happens in Mark when he's going to school and stuff, but then he eventually becomes a full hero full-time and doesn't really bother going to college anymore, which was definitely something new I'd never seen before, but it was good. Okay, that's all I have to say about Invincible, really. Stay tuned soon. We've got a few more videos in this whole 12 Christmas series, so stick around. Spider-Man 1991 saying Happy Holidays.